Hermes Agent versus Relay Console. Which one is better? Hermes or Relay Console? Hermes? Perhaps? Relay Console? Maybe not. Okay, disclaimer, Relay Console is mine, and I just want to show you guys what I've made and just take a little look at Hermes as well. See how they compare, see the differences. I use Hermes Agent. I love the desktop app. I think the desktop app is fantastic. What they've done here is make Hermes accessible to people who, don't even know what the terminal is, and like, I think, that cool guy on Bridgemind. Yeah, he said it right. The terminal's barbaric, and it is. It's barbaric. And having a nice desktop interface is the way forward. And especially the way that when you install Hermes Desktop Agent, it's kind of like a one-click install. You download it, you click it, it installs. I mean, there's a few settings you have to do, but on the whole, it's very straightforward to set it up. And you get a nice UI, and it feels a bit like ChatGPT. You can just start chatting into Hermes Agent Desktop, how are you? And, it will reply. And it is a very, kind of ChatGPT experience, although it's a lot more because it's it's an AI agent. Now, Relay Console. Why did I make Relay Console? Well, I made it before Hermes Agent Desktop was even a thing. And even with Hermes Agent Desktop, I prefer this kind of WhatsApp feel. So with Relay Console, you have conversations. With Hermes Agent Desktop, you seem to have sessions, whatever they are. Sessions to me is something that would appear at 9 p.m. on Radio 1 back in the 1990s, sessions or something, or it's some kind of skateboard term, sessions. I don't know what a session is. To me, it's a conversation. So in Relay Console, it's conversations. And I mean, personally, how I like it, I mean, first of all, I built Relay Console for me. This is not something that I'm building, with the hope that I can sell it as a SaaS. That's not what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be releasing this as a free install. You'll be able to download this is a Swift application. You'll be able to download it, install it. Won't cost you anything. It's run locally on your machine. The database, the backend is local on your machine. The agent harnesses on your machine. And I'm even going to release it. I'm 95% sure. Don't hold me to it. 95% sure I'm going to release it as an MIT project. So anyone can just download, take it, use it as they want. But essentially, it's much more of a WhatsApp feel. You've got your agents on the left here. If you want to start a conversation with an agent, you would press this button here and you would be able to have a direct conversation with an agent, or you can actually have a team chat, multiple agents in the same thread. It gets a bit wild. And in WhatsApp, you would add a human. Well, in here, you add agents. You create a new agent. Now, before we get there, very quickly, go into settings, harnesses. So Relay Console is built on two agent harnesses at the moment, Hermes Agent and OpenClaw. So Relay Console, when you install Relay Console, it actually goes off and gets the latest build of Hermes Agent and OpenClaw, and you can choose which one you install. You can install both or just one of them. I'm going to have more options for some other agent harnesses in here as well. So essentially, Relay Console is like a layer above the agent harness. I haven't come up with an agent harness. I wouldn't know how to do that. I've come up with like a messaging app where you can connect to an agent harness and then activate agents and talk to those agents. And you can connect those agents to applications and do work with those agents. And this is not a coding app. I mean, you could do coding with it, sure. but this is not built for coding. This is not a ADE, you know, an agentic developer environment. That's not what this is. This is not, I mean, if I want to code, I'm going to use Codex. I love Codex. Okay. I mean, I'd probably use Hermes for coding first, you know, before I do Relay Console. I don't know why. I just would. I just feel this kind of interface seems more natural to coding than a kind of WhatsApp interface where you have, you know, you have agents and you have chat threads. You see, there's me, there's the agent. We're going back and forth. We're having a conversation. So, you know, if it wasn't for Hermes Agent, Relay Console wouldn't exist. So, you know, thank you, Hermes Agent. Thank you, OpenClaw, for not only for building these agent harnesses, but for allowing them to be open source and for people to build applications on top of them, which is what I've done. Now, agents. So you got the chat, got the chat thread here. You got all your different agents, or you got team chats where you can have multiple agents in a team chatting away. And here, the agents tab. So the very top, create new agent. So you would click on this if you wanted to make a new agent. You would select OpenClaw or Hermes. So if I select Hermes here, I can then select an avatar for my agent. And yeah, I like to have a bit of fun. So we got some cool avatars. There he is. He looks pretty cool. Who else we got? We got just random kind of people you can choose. These are comic avatars. You got the retro. I don't really think these are that retro, but these are retro avatars. You've got heroes, which are sort of more photorealistic portrait type ones. You've got your vectors, which are, your sort of vector graphics, and portrait. Yeah, just loads of avatars. Because, the one thing about Hermes is, you sort of feel like you're just chatting and you've only really got one agent. I think you can set up multiple agents, but I haven't really worked out how. It's certainly not obvious from the interface how you would set up multiple agents. Like I say, I'm not an expert on Hermes Agent Desktop. I've done a few really good workflows in here, connecting Gmail, connecting LinkedIn, getting cron jobs working for both of those, connecting Notion. So I've done that, but I'm not a big user of Hermes Agent Desktop because I spend my time building and using Claw Chat. So here we are. Corporate as well. You could have, guys in suits if you want, So I could select this guy here as my avatar, give him a name. He could be, John Doe. You give him a name, give him a role if you want to. You don't have to, but you could. And then you just select. You can also select him. He's a business agent, say. He's in my organization. He's going to go in the marketing department. No team at the moment. You don't have to do that, but you can. And then you just click create agent. And it's preparing to create this Hermes agent. Very simple one-click agent setup, either in OpenClaw or Hermes. And here he is. This is the guy, John Doe. So, yo John, what's up? He won't really know what's up because he's only just been, brought into the scene. Fresh agent, probably pretty keen, wants to impress. He's ready to work. Here we are. Look, hey, I'm here and ready. What outcome do you want to move forward with today? I had to make them say something a bit more generic because at the beginning, every single message at the beginning was, what repo are we working on? What code base are we working on? I'm like, no. We're not working on no code bases, no repos. We're not coding apps here, okay? This is Relay Console. You're working in applications. You're getting work done for me. That is not, first and foremost, building SaaS apps, okay? So this is John Doe. And then so what can he do? I mean, he can do anything a Hermes agent can do. I mean, you could literally ask him to build a website, and he could obviously, or he could build an app, but it's not really what I want, Relay Console. So you have an agent, and then you go to the marketplace here, and you have all your applications here, all your applications. and you can select an application. So you can select Notion, and then you'd have to enter your credentials. So you'd have to go to Notion and get API keys, tokens, whatever was needed. Here it's saying you need a Notion API token and an optional workspace label. So you'd go to Notion and get that. And then once you make a connection, you're able to basically toggle agents. Here it is, John Doe. You're able to toggle agents on and off for that application. And when you toggle it on, it injects into them all of the context they need to use that application. And then you go back to the messaging app, messaging thread, and you start talking with them and say, hey, you're in Notion, write me some documents in Notion, do some research online about this, about that, and then go into Notion and compile some documents for me, and he'll do it all for me, you know. So I've actually had Relay Console on my in the browser as a browser app for a few months now, and I've just renamed it. It was called Claw Chat. I don't want to call Claw Chat because it's leaning too much on OpenClaw. OpenClaw is a incredible, fantastic agent harness, and just a credit to the whole AI development, as is Hermes Agent. And I don't want to try and steal the Claw name because, you know, who am I to do that? I'm not. I'm just having fun building my own app. Relay Console now. Anyway, the point is, I've just built this Swift app because I think Swift is the way to go in terms of a release to the public. So here we are. And these apps are not connected yet. I literally just put these in last night, but the App Store will have hundreds, thousands of apps. So for example, ExaSearch, that's a really good kind of API. You can give an agent and he can search ExaSearch. So here we are, John Doe. All the other agents are connected. I'm going to connect him. So here we are, connect him. Yep, connect John Doe. He's connecting now to that agent. I do have to actually enter this password, which you can't see. It's asking my keychain. And then we go back to chats here. In fact, let's connect him to Gmail as well. So here he is. I've only got this guy connected to Gmail. Let's connect him to Gmail. So I just toggle that on, connect him to Gmail. Here he is. Different options. So standard, read only, or this one here is more powerful. He can read and write. Let's just click on read only. And go back to here, and here now all of a sudden these little icons here indicate the apps he's able to use. So can you see you are able to use ExaSearch? Probably say no, I've got no idea about ExaSearch. What are you talking about? Hopefully he won't. Hopefully he'll say yes, I can use ExaSearch. Says he's brainstorming apparently. Well done, John. That's right, you use your... Yes, I can use ExaSearch through the Relay Marketplace brokered tools. They're brokered. Available Exa tools I can call standard web search, answer retrieval, deep search. Okay, and Gmail. I'll just, add that to the conversation. Gmail. He's gonna have a think about that as well. Gonna brainstorm. Yes, I can use Gmail through the Relay Market brokered tools too. Available Gmail tools I can use: list Gmail labels, search messages, read a specific message, prepare. Okay, so what was my last email to arrive? Let's see what it says about that. So you see, you can just create agents very easily. Give them a name, give them an avatar, select OpenClaw or Hermes. And here they are. They're in the left-hand pane, rather like you would in WhatsApp. In WhatsApp, you meet someone. Oh yeah, I'll add you to WhatsApp, and you change details, and you add them to WhatsApp. It's a bit like that, but it's for agents. So it's a chat interface for agents, and this is meant to be for, the general public, a much wider use space than the people who are just coding SaaS apps or coding software in general, which is quite a technical thing. Apps like Codex, Claude Code, most people just don't use those kind of apps. They use ChatGPT, and a lot of people obviously use WhatsApp, they use Telegram, so this app naturally just fits well with them. It allows just, I don't like to use the word normies, but it uses, everyone else who is not down this rabbit hole of Claude Code and Codex to start using AI agents to do everyday work for personal life, for business life, for family, because it allows you to activate agents incredibly easy, very fast, and it allows you to connect them to applications that you're using. I mean, you might use a Google Docs all the time. And so you can connect your agent to Google Docs and he can do the work for you. You might be writing some documents. You can tell him, okay, write this, do that. And he'll do the research online, connect him to the ExaSearch API, connect him to Gmail. He might send a few emails out. He might search the web, pull it all back in. Then he'll start writing some documents in Google Docs for you. You can go into Google Docs, review them. So it is for, okay, I don't like the word, the normies, which I'm kind of one of in a way. I'm not a senior software engineer, okay? I don't want to say that this is production ready. It's not. I don't even know what that means. I'm just having fun. I'm going to release this and, I hope people use it. They probably won't, but I'm going to be using it anyway, even if no one else is. And okay, so what did he say? He said, your last email appears to be a GitHub notification. Yeah, well, there we go. So he can obviously read the emails and they can send, depends on the permissions, but they can send, read, write emails, sort you, they can, once you connect them to an app, they can do anything in the app that a human could do essentially. And there's going to be thousands of apps in here. So it's the layer above agent harnesses. You have agent harnesses, which I'm not trying to reinvent an agent harness or pretend I've made an agent harness. I have not. And I have not made SaaS apps. I have not made applications. What I've made is the layer above applications and above harnesses, where you activate agents in agent harnesses and you connect your agents to applications that you would use yourself. That's what I've built. It's kind of a messaging orchestration layer on top. So going on a bit here, aren't I? But here we go. I'm just so passionate about this. I love this application. I just love the way that you can just chat to them. And the thing I really love, hopefully this works, team chat. This all gets a bit mental. Team chat. So you call it a team chat. Today's team. Let's call it today's team, and you can be in today's team. You can be in today's team. John, you can definitely be in today's team. You're man of the day. You are, John. Create new chat. Yeah, there we go. Let's see what happens. And let's say, hey. Let's just put hey. Now, is this even going to work? Because I was fiddling around with this a lot. If you allow them all to answer, it just goes into a free fall of like multiple agents just answering and answering. So at the moment it routes it to one agent. It will always route to one, and then he'll say something and it will route to someone else. It's a little bit random at the moment. It's a work in progress, but literally they'll just talk and talk and talk. And if you actually have something useful you want to do as a team, you want them to like discuss something and come up with an idea, come up with a plan, write a document, they'll do it as a team. They'll have back and forths, they'll have conversations. It says he's running. I don't know what's happened. We'll check back in a moment. So you've got the chats tab, you've got the agents tab. The agents tab is create new agent or edit agent. But you've got agent instructions. So let's just click onto a OpenClaw agent. Here we are, Claw man. He's the man. So agent instructions, which is like your classic documents you have in OpenClaw. You've got identity, soul, user, agents, tools, heartbeat, and you can click into them and actually see what the file is. This is kind of like the default file, I believe, for an OpenClaw heartbeat. So there's nothing there, but you can edit. I mean, you can actually edit the file and you can write here, in the actual Relay Console app, edit the agent instructions, the markdown file in their workspace. And then you just click the save button and it will save. So this is not inside Relay Console. This is inside the agent harness and you're just viewing it via Relay Console. And so Soul, there's a bit more in Soul. Here we are, Soul. Who are you? You're not a chatbot. you're becoming someone. This is the default standard sole document you get in OpenClaw agents. And again, you can click and edit the file and save the file. There's a few other options for like syncing the file to some files on your computer. You might be assembling a whole load of agent documentation on your computer and you want to be able to connect and sync to those files, which you can. Agent memory. Clawman has no memory. Let's have a look in one of these other agents. I don't know what's going to be in them, but here we are, memories. So you have access to the actual memories of the agents here. So here's a memory. I don't know what we did. We were doing something. He was inspecting the Relay Console code base and after ground positioning. I think he was researching Relay Console and what it was. But agent memory. So you just got access into their markdown file rather than having to sort of wade through. And okay, I mean, kind of lost track here. Hermes. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that is a thing. I think maybe over here there is where you would find it. But I mean, it's not particularly user friendly, is it? I mean, all this stuff. Is it even here? I don't know. I think that's my files on my computer. I'm not even sure what that is. That's not it, is it? File system. That's my file system. Messages, artifacts, skills and tools. Maybe it's in skills and tools. This is their kind of version of the marketplace, I guess. Although again, my one's more like, okay, you have a whole load of agents. Which one's going to connect to which applications? I'm not knocking Hermes Agent Desktop. It is incredible. It is fantastic. Okay, what Hermes have done with their agent harness is just, I can't thank them enough. And the guys behind OpenClaw. You've done a service to the whole AI world. Messaging. So here we are, look, email. So you probably can connect to your Gmail, I guess. It's very similar. It's just, I was building a Relay Console for months and months, way before Hermes Agent Desktop came out. So maybe I would never have built Relay Console if Hermes Agent Desktop had come out. Maybe. WhatsApp. I don't know how you would connect to WhatsApp. You need a business account to connect to WhatsApp. That's very interesting. I have to look at that later. But I think this is the way we're going. The way we're going is setting up agents, connecting to applications, getting those agents to work on your behalf in those applications. I think that is the way that the general public, the mass consumer, is going to be using AI agents, in my view. Skills and tools, we went in there already. Artifacts, I think that's where all your documents are. I guess they're going to load up if we stayed long enough. Okay. So Relay Console, here we are. Okay, so agent skills as well, and you've got your skills here. You can see all your skills, and you can click into a skill. You can read what that skill is, edit the skill if you so wish. So the agents tab, you've got access not only to create new agents and edit existing agents, you've got access into their markdown documentation. Then you've got the sort of the org structure where you can create organizations. You can create departments. Here we've got 4 departments, and you can assign agents. In agent classification, you can assign agents into a department, into teams. So you can group them by department, by team, which I think is useful, really. I think it's useful to set up, okay, these agents are in the mail room and they're connected to Gmail, to Outlook, Proton Mail. And there's a couple of agents in there, and they send emails, they look at emails for you. And then you might have another department for social media. Some they're connected to X, to LinkedIn. Maybe one's connected to X, one's connected to LinkedIn. They work in the same department. Sometimes you put them both in a team chat and they will talk together. Having said that, I'm curious if today's team has actually said anything. Okay, so here we are, look, team chat. Okay, I said, hey. I didn't give them any instructions, so they're just going to be basically chatting about not much. But hey, what are we working on? He doesn't even know. Chan Hermes is trying to work it out. I checked recent session context. The latest visible work was around X and Twitter provider usage, because I was trying to set them up. And then you got John Doe. Here we are, John. the new agent. Great, got it. Context re-established. Few likely options. Open, recall, draft or polish a post. He's keen, John is. Hermes Agent, what outcome would you like to move forward with? Then Clawman, I don't need to pick an outcome myself. I'm ready for whichever direction you want. He's pretty easy and pretty relaxed, Clawman. Hermes Agent, I don't have a concrete task to execute yet, so I have no required tool calls to run. Oh, hopefully not, yeah. Understood, no concrete task, yeah, because I didn't give them any tasks, so they're just chatting about nothing. But you can assign different agents, different roles, put them all into a team chat. I mean, this is why I made Relay Console originally, because I wanted team chats, which I couldn't get in Telegram. I had two agents. I had an agent operating an application, I had an agent being the auditor, and I was like the switchboard, passing messages back and forth. So I made this orchestrator who was meant to do that for me, control these two agents. He said he was. Turned out he was doing all the work himself, wasn't even controlling the agents. He was kind of talking to them a little bit, but... So I wanted a team chat. I wanted all the agents in the same thread so I can see clearly what they're doing. You know, what are you doing? And I want to be able to get in there and say, and talk to them. Say, no, going off course. This is what we should be doing. I wanted it transparent. That John Doe, here we are. I still don't have a concrete task to execute. I know you don't. They will go on forever. And so up here, you have this little pause button. You can also set, like they will stop after 50 messages anyway, but you can literally go to like 10,000 messages. But you can pause it. There we go. Pause. And now they're paused. They're not going to continue. Okay? Because they're basically just wasting. But team chats can be really powerful. Team chats can be so powerful. If you set them up properly and each agent's got a role, you know, you can really, I mean, have you ever been in a situation where you're doing something in one AI tool and you're going back to ChatGPT and you're telling it, well, this is the response I got from this tool. What do you think? ChatGPT is like, well, I think this. And it's giving you a prompt and you're pasting that prompt back into the other tool, which might be another chatbot. And then that's responding and you're pasting that prompt, that response into ChatGPT as a prompt. And you're going back and forth between these two agents. Well, you don't need to now. You can just put them both in a team chat. They can just talk together and you don't have to do anything. So what I was doing before, I was doing affiliate link websites with a couple of agents. I had one agent who was searching online for opportunities and who was building websites. And another agent who was like writing copy for the websites and producing images, graphics for the websites. Then I had a manager who was basically keeping them on track. The manager had a lot of documentation. So you'd go into agent instructions, and I was setting, you know, in here I was setting like workflow documentations for the manager to tell him how to behave, how to actually instruct the other agents inside a team chat. And he would do that. He would look at his documentation and he would basically instruct the other agents to keep working. The other agent would go off, do something, come back, say, I've done it. And normally the conversation is dead then. If you're not there, if you go into bed, the conversation dies unless you respond. But I didn't have to respond because the manager would respond and say, good work. Now you're going to do this. And the agent would do that. It was like a loop, an agentic loop, which are like all the rage now. But it was like you put two agents or three agents in a chat thread and you've basically made an agentic loop where they're looping and talking. And as long as you set the documentation up correctly, they can do some fantastic work. And so, yeah, I mean, Hermes Agent, yeah, like I said, I can't thank Hermes enough for what you've done, but like, it just doesn't really do that. It's like you send a message, you get a response, and that's it. I don't know how you would put two agents in the same chat thread and get them autonomously working through some problem and building some, and they're not building some SaaS app, building some actual business workflow. You know, maybe they're doing outreach and one of the agents is searching online for people to contact. The other agent is drafting emails. And then you have like a manager who is basically assessing, okay, are the emails written well? Have the search targets come back in the right niche? Yes, okay. And then the manager's then emailing off these people. But in Hermes or in any other kind of agent interface. It's just kind of like you prompt it, they respond, and unless you prompt it back again, it's finished. I mean, which is why these so-called, agentic loops have become all the rage. And I've been using agentic loops for coding. I mean, they're just fantastic because you basically have this huge queue of items you want done, and it will just loop through them, and it will re-prompt the agent again and again and again. But in a team chat, in Relay Console, the agents will prompt each other without me. And like I say, if you set the documentation up for them, they know how to prompt each other to move through the workflow autonomously. Anyway, I can't talk about it enough, really. And then work. Yeah, so you can see how many hours of work they've done. Like I say, this Swift app, I've been using this as a browser-based application for months now, and I've just turned it into a Swift app, and I'm going to release it for free for everyone. It's going to be open source, MIT. Don't hold me to that, but I think it's going to be MIT, open source. Of course, no one cares. No one's going to use it. But anyway, it's my little contribution, my grain of sand to the AI beach is giving this out to the community for people to use, But, well, I'd be very happy if 4 people use it, to be honest. But anyway, so here you've got your work, and you can see how many hours they've worked, what days they've worked. And like I said, this Swift application's only been made about 4 or 5 days ago, so they haven't done much, but you can see how many hours they've worked. So it's a nice little sort of schedule. You can see, okay, who's been working, who hasn't been working. Then you've got task schedule. This is where you can inject prompts into them. A little bit like a cron job, but when you inject a prompt into a chat thread, it injects the message directly into the thread. So you might inject a message into John Doe to say, do this, do that. And you might think, well, that's a cron job. And it is like a cron job, but he has the context of the chat thread as well. You don't really get with a cron job, I don't believe. Not saying cron jobs aren't good, they are. So here you've also got your cron jobs where you can look at the current cron jobs. Bit of a work in progress still. This is like artifacts. So this is stuff like the agents have been creating. This is where you come and documents that they've been making. I mean, if they've been working in, say, Notion, you're going to go into the Notion application to actually see what they've been doing. But they may just be creating text documents, filing them away in your file system, and you'll be able to come in here and see what they've made. He's been making all of this stuff. I don't know what this stuff is. I told him to do some research about sort of applications that were a bit like Relay Console, Devin. See, Devin's a coding app, an incredible coding app. Relay Console is but this is just like all like autonomous stuff that one of the agents has been doing. Marketplace, I showed you Marketplace. We're going to have hundreds of applications. See, things like LinkedIn and X, you can't connect to LinkedIn in Codex. It doesn't have LinkedIn. Now you could by just giving it the API keys and credentials and it will sort it out, but you go into the actual Codex app store, and I understand because they don't want people using Codex to spam LinkedIn or X, and it could get a bit out of hand. The Relay Console, I'm not really responsible. You have to go and create your own connections in terms of get your own keys, come back and put them in. But the good thing about Relay Console, it's Swift, it's local on your machine. That the back end is on your machine. The keys, all the keys, credentials are on your machine. I don't see them. I don't see any of your messages. All your messages are stored locally that you've been talking to the agent. Obviously, if you're using OpenAI, a lot of stuff's going off to OpenAI server, but that's what you're doing anyway. But it's not like I've got some funky back end somewhere and I'm seeing what your messages are with your agents. I'm not. This is local on your machine. You install the Swift app, the back end is on your machine, and your credentials, your keys are stored in your keychain. I have no access to any of this, and rightly so. I don't want to be responsible for, the back end of loads of, well, no one's going to use it, but if someone did use it, I don't want to be responsible storing your, back end conversations and, me messing up and losing your database. So I won't, because, well, firstly, it's going to be open source, free software, use it at your own risk. But Secondly, it's yours, on your machine. And the other thing, it installs Hermes Agent and OpenClaw on your machine. At the moment, that is the only way this works. So, because like the normies, the mums and dads, the people on the street, they're not going to go and buy Mac Minis. They're not going to get VPSs. They don't even know what any of that is. Okay, they just want to click a button and install it, and that's what Hermes Agent Desktop does. You download it, you and click it, installs it on your machine. It's okay, I think it got a little bit out of hand where people were like, no, you can't install the agent harnesses on your machine. You're gonna lose everything, And I haven't really heard any stories. I've heard people they've had their inbox deleted or something like that, or their calendar wiped. But grow up. Come on, guys. Install it on your machine. Come on. And if you don't want to do that, fine, up to you. You're missing out. You are completely. So yeah, App Store. Approvals. So if they're doing stuff that needs approvals, you will see it here and you'll be able to approve. Just a sort of nice interface to approve it. This needs a bit of tidying up. I've got a few jobs to do to the cron job section and the approval section before I release it. And the marketplace, I want to add loads of apps in here. Now, you want your agent connected to Google Analytics, and he can look at your analytics and tell you. Especially PostHog, it's a bit of a nightmare. The actual PostHog interface I find very confusing. But if your agent is connected to PostHog, you can just come in here, select him, whoever he is. Cool Dude, maybe I'll select Cool Dude, and Cool Dude will be connected to, whatever it's called, PostHog, and I would just chat with him, naturally chat. It's a chat thread. And there's a load of nice buttons like, copy this message, or this one is copy the thread from here. So it copies this message and all of the messages below it. This one copies the entire thread. You might want to just copy the entire thread, chuck it into ChatGPT and say, what have they been doing? What have they been talking about? Especially with a team chat where you go to sleep, you come back, there's 400 messages there. You just want to copy the thread, put it into ChatGPT and say, tell me what they've been doing, and I've been in bed. This one is wrap up and reset. So if you click this button here, it will wrap up the thread and it will reset it back to the beginning. And you can then view your saved cycles here and actually go back into the cycles. See, I'm back in again, but that's not the actual active cycle. The active cycle is the cycle 2. Which is this one. There's nothing in that cycle, so you can reset them. And then this little number here, this is their context window. So if this gets too high, you definitely want to reset the thread if they got too high. You don't have to, because you can do some slash commands to clear their context, and Hermes compacts itself anyway. Like, we're not changing the behavior of the agents in their harness. The agents compact themselves anyway, but you can see his context window up here. What else? Team chats, direct chats, app marketplace, skills, memory, instructions, edit agents, new agents. That's about it really at the moment. I have some other ideas, but hopefully, if any of you guys want it, like I say, no one's gonna want this, but if someone does, just drop me a DM, write a comment, tell me, and I'll be much more inclined to get this released fast. I'm hoping in a week or so you'll be able to go to the relayconsole.work website, download and install. And I will definitely, maybe not on launch, but I will definitely get to the point where if you install it, it will connect to any installations you have at OpenClaw or Hermes and bring your existing agents and memory and context into here. Because you don't want to start from the beginning, do you? You want to give your agents nice avatars, give the guys who you already have avatars, don't you? You don't want to start from the beginning. So that's it really. That's the main point. It is a WhatsApp. It is a platform for AI agents in the form of WhatsApp direct and team messages with a kind of Slack application feel to it, where you connect them to applications, and a sort of structure with agent classifications and departments, teams, organization structure, work calendars, tasks, cron jobs. Yeah, okay. So, oh no, we've been on Hermes Agent the whole time. This is what a noob I am. I should have been clicked on there. I wasn't even on there. Anyway, might have to get rid of that part of the video. I'll just run through it again very quickly, because I was obviously on Hermes Agent for way too long there. That is not good. What a noob. I'm like the biggest noob there was. Okay, so I'm just going to stop this now. And did I even explain what all that was? Okay, guys, thanks for watching.